Hey everyone, it's Dave from BC Bushcraft here again. Today the video I'm going to be doing is just showing you my field sharpening kit. This is something that I bring with me on my adventures just to touch up my axes and touch up my knives. So stay tuned. So here's my kit in its entirety. Basically, there's a few fundamental things that you would want to have in your field sharpening kit. Number one, you want to have some sort of file. File is very important for touching up your axes. This will remove your burrs and create a nice sharp edge that you can then work with your other materials. It's good for kind of like disaster relief in your axe edge. You know, if you have like a big burr or something like that and you don't have a file on you, it could be very hard to get it out. So that is definitely a very important item to bring with you. You know, in the traditional days, you know, they didn't have access to sharpening stones so much, and people who explore the Northwest type of deal, furmen and tradesmen or whatever of those sorts, woodsmen, whatever you want to call them, they would typically only really have a file to sharpen their gear. And, you know, it might be rare, but they might have a stone too. But a file was a more common thing. And you can get a sharp edge with just the file itself. So this is a very important thing. Next up we have, this is a diamond sharpening stone, surface, whatever you want to call it. It's fine grit. You can get a little bit finer, but I got, it's called fine. It's from Die Sharp. It's about $10 or something like that. And this is good for getting your edge finer. You can use it on your knife, and you can also use it on your axe. You just have to know your right technique. And the good thing about this is its size. It's quite small. It's very functional. And I know a lot of people get the DC4 Vulcan sharpening stone, but it's like almost $50 or something for me. And it's not, I don't want to spend that much on a sharpening stone. And the gear that I have here, I can get a razor sharp edge. I can cut my hairs, you know, on my arm with it. For some reason, that makes your kit awesome. But I don't know. I think it's a YouTube thing. But yeah, this is a diamond surface, and it's fine. You don't really need much more to get your knife super sharp. So for my knives, I won't use a file on it, obviously, but I'll start off with this and do this a few times on my knife, and then I'll move on to the next objects. The next one, this is used for my axe, is just a little stone that's quite fine grit. This stone, you know, is just to kind of polish off the edge of your axe. It's not mandatory to have, but I like doing it. It's kind of fun. You don't really need to do it too much. You know, you got this thing. So it's just something I throw in there and I kind of just mess around with. That's just for the axe, though. That doesn't involve the knife. Next up is my stropping system. What I have here, this is the belt that I use and take with me on my adventures. And what I do is I have this piece of 3/4 inch plywood or something like that, and I've cut it into a small block. And what I do is I rest my belt on here, kind of like loop it around, find a surface to just rest it on, and this is what I strap my knife on. I know people like different leathers and stuff like that, and you can get like even sharper and finer things, but I find this works really well for me. In combination with this, I also use a stropping compound, which I got off of Amazon too, and it was like $10. It comes in a big brick. It's got a big brick, and you know, all I do is just kind of put that on my leather belt and just get it a bit green, like so. And then I'll strop on that. Something else I carry in my kit is this little eraser, which can just take rust out of my carbon steel blades. Yeah, it just rubs out little pock marks of rust and things like that. I did a little video on how that works too. Last up, well, I have this rag. This rag, I can oil it up and stuff, and I can also use for char cloth because it's 100% cotton. And I just keep it in this case just to keep things tight and not bouncing around. And last up is this is to waterproof my gear, waterproof my axes, my wooden handles, and my knife blades, and it's just olive oil. I put an olive oil finish on this axe handle, and the reason why is so I could just use strictly olive oil for maintaining and waterproofing my gear. And olive oil is food safe, obviously, so it's good for your knife too. You don't have to worry about, putting some oil on there and then, eating from your knife. This is totally fine. And then I can also use it for cooking too. And olive oil's got multiple purposes. And I just have a little elastic band around there just to keep it on tight. And you don't really need much. You just need a little drop to oil up your gear. But all of this stuff here is all you really need for your field sharpening kit. You don't need to be bringing water stones and anything too bulky. All of that stuff besides the piece of wood will fit in here. Just a little glass case. You can put it in whatever you want. I just like that. I don't know. I found it lying around, so I use it. And then this piece of wood. You don't need to bring this, but I just like to bring it. It doesn't take up too much space. So, this is the size of one water stone probably, maybe even smaller. So it's quite functional, and it's just a small kit. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed my video on my field sharpening kit. It's quite simple. It's very small, easy to bring. You can take it on a lot of your adventures, and it will drastically improve your life, especially if you end up damaging your knife or axe. I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe. Lots more videos coming, and I'll catch you on the next one.